Hey guys, happy Sunday. Thanks for stopping by for another episode here at All I See is W. In today's video, we'll be talking about latest updates with Bitcoin, what the outlook looks like as we head into the rest of 2025. We'll also be doing technical analysis, price predictions of Strategy MSTR, the big three Bitcoin miners, as well as covering ETH-related treasury companies like BMNR, with Ethereum expected to have a nice run up, as well as me sharing with you one hot crypto stock that you don't want to miss out. So stay until the end. I will also be sharing with you, video clips of my overall journey. We'll play a quick video of Andrew Tate, as well as just my progression just with powerlifting. So I'll share that towards the end if you have an interest with that. Now, if you're new to this channel, I would really appreciate you hitting the like, subscribing for more related content. Thanks, guys. Let's begin. Let's take a look at a post from Bitcoin Magazine. Great things come to those who hodl. So Bitcoin's price in. So, when we look at Bitcoin's price, like from a day-to-day perspective, we see a zigzag. We've seen memes with like The Simpsons, look. But when you look at things like from a monthly scale, you'll see things more smooth out. You don't see much of that, that up and down. But when you scale out even further, you zoom out with like your telescope or your binoculars, you'll see, from a year's perspective, from a decade's perspective, Bitcoin just tends to go up. It trends up. But when you look at things with like a microscope on a day-to-day perspective, things just zigzag left and right. Key thing is Bitcoin goes up over time. We're talking about in a future state, Bitcoin's going to be at 444,000, like years on out. We're going to see Bitcoin to millions of dollars. So just think about it from a long-term perspective. You're placing your bet on this digital currency in that it will combat against inflation. Plan B posts about the Bitcoin stock to flow model. So he's saying Bitcoin closed July at 115,750, another monthly close all-time high. So let's take a look at the Bitcoin stock to flow model. Why is this important? Well, when we look at the legend on the left, it represents months until the next halving event. Okay, so when we look at, the run-up tops after, every halving event, we had our recent halving event, last year, April timeframe. But just look at the run-up top. We get it at around that orange yellow time frame, right? So that orange yellow time frame is somewhere around that 30 to 25 months until the next halving event. So, a little more than or close to like 2 years until 2028 April. That puts us somewhere around December, January for that expected run up top. And when you correlate that with, like the relative strength index, so Plan B also tracks Bitcoin with its RSI. Basically, what RSI is it represents, whether a commodity or a stock is like overbought or oversold. So, just with the current RSI, it's almost at 75 orange dot. In this bull market, we will see several months with RSI 80 plus. 80 plus would be representing the red dots like 2021 last halving cycle, 2017, 2013, and 2011 in his opinion. So what are we seeing? Red dots. Red dots represent like 80 plus RSI. Anything below that would just be like orange and yellow. Every halving event, we see those red dots coming into play. What does that tell us? Bitcoin hasn't even broken out yet. So I'm expecting that we will see some monthly RSIs of 80 plus, but we haven't even got there yet. So when you tie that with the stock to flow model, sometime around like, the 25th, 30th month until the next halving event, that'll put us somewhere around that, that Q4 timeframe and perhaps even January. So, we may very well have that nice run up top, as we just look at the last couple of halving events with RSI with red dots to come. Trending Bitcoin posts is President Trump says, together we will make America undisputed Bitcoin superpower and crypto capital of the world. So just think about that. He's also announced during the Nashville Bitcoin conference that United States will be the crypto capital of the world, including artificial intelligence. So right now, it's really a race towards embracing, Bitcoin, digital currency, as well as AI. He's made deals with like, United Emirates for AI platform, and there's been a lot of just United States, contracts put in place with like Mag 7 companies like Nvidia, things like that. But this is looking very solid for the overall structure. We've heard from Trump as well. He's saying that in the next 6 months, the United States economy is going to roar. Josh Mandel, reposts from Michael Saylor. He said the man from Miami. So winter is not coming back, So are we going to see Bitcoin continue to just go up and up and up? So it'll be interesting to see what will happen now that we have so many, institutions, governments, public companies buying Bitcoin left and right. What does this mean? Is winter really going to go away? Let's take a look at a post from the Bitcoin therapist. NSTR down over 20% from 450 in the last 2 weeks, more than $73, and Sailor is not hitting the ATM. mNAV is at 1.69x after the most bullish earnings call in history. This is a coiled spring. Do not back down. We are going to Valhalla. So even though we had MSTR pull back over the recent week, remain calm. We saw, that Bitcoin visual, we see things zigzag, but when you scale out, from a year and decade perspective, MSTR just continues to trend up with Bitcoin. Against Wall Street posts every time the RSI hits oversold on the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, it's marked a local bottom. It's happened 4 times so far, and each time was followed by a solid move up. I've marked the spots with the yellow circles, just opened a 2x long from 112,000 Bitcoin based on that pattern. So, with those yellow spots that he's highlighted representing buy indicators, we're in this Bitcoin bull flag. Are we ready for this next bounce up? It's hovering at 113,909. It'll be interesting to see how Bitcoin holds up, in the evening time as well as, with tomorrow's market opening. Will Bitcoin get up to like 114, 115? I believe if it gets to that 114, 115, that's going to look more steady. And let's say if Wall Street has a nice day, things might bounce back. We saw huge sell-offs like Coinbase, Riot having a huge sell-off. But where we are right now, even yesterday, I mean, Bitcoin went down to like 111,000. So we're seeing, some nice gradual pickups. RSI on the daily, I mean, at one point it got to 40. I mean, that's getting close to that oversold situation. We had RSI cool off from July 14 when it reached its all-time high. So that's a good thing. I think it might be that next stair step up, but the key support is somewhere around that 110,000. We don't want it to break 108,000, but I think the key thing is we're still hovering above the Ichimoku cloud. That's a good thing. I mean, it's just consolidating right now for that next leg up. We may very well have some nice run-ups to 130,000 onward. Even though there's market uncertainty, fear right now, remember, be bullish. Bitcoin is here to stay. Let's take a look at a post from Mara. So I noted Mara soon to announce solid July production numbers. It might even be tomorrow when they announce that. Expecting a price to bounce if Bitcoin holds up heading into Monday's market open. Price to $23 plus to the upside in September. Mara stock price won't be this low for long. I mean, Mara dipped to like $15.50, but it is clinging to the key, $15 shelf. Q2 numbers, we had 2,358 Bitcoin mined, hash rate at 57 exahash with the target of 75 exahash by year end. In fact, there was news that they just got, tons of mining technology from the Silicon Valley shipped to Mara to achieve this goal. So that's huge. Balance sheet now holds over 50,000 Bitcoin. They're the second largest corporate HODL stack right behind MSTR, and they just recently raised 950 million convertible notes due 2032 to fund more rigs and sites. I mean, July production update, which may come, and Bitcoin to reach all-time high would be the driving catalyst. So just looking at the overall visual, I mean, I think where we're going to see price action right now, even though we saw that run up top to like 21, breaking down to 1550. We're still seeing higher lows established. Relative strength is resetting along with MACD. I really do see us, sometime in August, September for us to break through that $22. CleanSpark, on Friday, it slid, to like $10.44, a big pullback as well, along with many other crypto stocks including Wall Street. I mean, now it's leaning on that key support level of $10, which we'll look at soon on the visual. But overall, the miners bled out, but CleanSpark from a fundamentals perspective, they became like the first public miner to hit 50 exahash, and their fleet efficiency now is like 16.1 joules per terahash, slightly behind Iron. I mean, they're really ramping up their hash rate. I mean, they're mining about 24 Bitcoins per day. That's huge. Every hour you have, Bitcoin rewarded. Their next catalyst is, coming up August 7th. That's going to be coming, their earnings report. And, street targets sits near $21, which is like 100% upside if the momentum flips. So on the 20-day DMA, we got to reclaim that $12 and we're eyeing somewhere around that, $18. So just stay dialed in and focus, eye on the prize. I have this orange line at that $10 support. We want to see, that price stay around that area. And, we're seeing higher lows, higher highs, even though now, we're seeing, where that price point will be on that support level. But I really do see that, August, September, we're going to have that price get somewhere around that $18 on the near term. Riot Platforms, I mean, on Friday, it had a huge slippage. I mean, 17% down, similar to Coinbase on Friday, along with, coin dropping significantly. I mean, but one of the things is it had a major reset on the technical indicators. I mean, Riot has been performing quite well, and the RSI with the drop, I mean, it stabilized to 52. So that's a good thing on the indicators. Current price is back in the consolidation channel due to Bitcoin having uh, a slight pullback, which we saw last week. I mean, I'm forecasting strong support at the 110,000 base for Bitcoin before the next leg up to 180,000 this year. Once that happens, expecting, the play for Riot to play out. Q2 that was announced last week for Riot was record setting. I mean, $219 million net income, and they had 495 million adjusted EBITDA on the Bitcoin tailwind. So this was all from the FASB accounting rule. Their earnings per share, I mean, dominated their estimate. Their June operations was 450 Bitcoin mined. Now with their stack, somewhere around, close to 20,000, not there yet, but their hash rate, they're expecting to ramp up by 40 exahash by end of year. The flip zone is we got to reclaim that $13 for upside momentum on the near price movement. So, we're looking at this on, just from a long-term perspective. It recently broke out of that channel, but current price action, dropping back down. We're still hovering in this channel, but relative strength has, cooled down back to 52. It was, touching at that 75, but now that it's bounced down, I think there's going to be really good buying activity before we gap back up with Riot Platforms. Ethereum technical indicators. Let's talk about Ethereum. I mean, it's resetting as well. I mean, just recently after the pullback, I'm expecting Ethereum to head to like 7,800 in 2025, which is drawn in green here. And there's going to be treasury companies like BMNR, SBET, BTBT game also, having potential upside. I mean, BMNR right now, they're like the MSTR in the ETH treasury companies. We have BTBT, also ramping up their Ethereum as well, along with AI playing out. So let's say if you like Ethereum, and if you believe in treasury companies similar to like strategy, you got companies like BMNR, SBET, BTBT, and Game that may have potential upside. Yes, these companies, had a huge squeeze recently, and then now it had a huge pullback, but that doesn't mean that it won't start appreciating with the share price. I mean, look at Ethereum, had a big, overbought situation mid-July, but then since then it cooled off significantly at 50. We're going to expect to see more inflows into Ethereum as well as these ETH treasury companies. So be on the lookout for some upside gains with these companies. Here is the hot stock I want to share with you, Galaxy. I'm really forecasting sometime in Q1, we're going to have GLXY get to $140 by Q1 of 2025. I really think that this company is the next hood, Palantir play, their crypto services. We heard like weeks ago there was a whale that sold his Bitcoin when he bought Bitcoin for like 54,000 and then sold the Bitcoin recently for $9 billion on one trade. That all happened on the Galaxy exchange. But just think about this, even with the Genius bill in place, this is really going to add value to companies like Galaxy Digital. They also hold Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. They're also in the AI data center business as well. So huge upside potential. Current price, yes, we saw a pullback, currently, below $30, $28. That's definitely undervalued because I think in the long-term course, we're going to see this company continue to climb up. They have a strong, leadership, with the CEO having that experience in this game, as well as, having that military type of leadership approach, which we sometimes need in this environment to have, practical results be delivered. So I really like the upside. I want to share this with you. The roadmap says that the next crypto play could be aiming for $140. And just looking at this visual with where we are with GLXY, really do see it climbing up to that 140,000 as we head into Q1 of 2025. So be on the lookout with that. So let's take a look at some, recent updates. Andrew Tate, he, posted, according to Grok, less than 1% of men globally can bench 140 kilos. That's about 309 pounds. So I walked in and did it totally cold with no warm up at all, and it was easy. It truly amazes me how weak most men are. So what does this tell you? I mean, we need more alpha males out there, right? To just really build on your journey to get stronger. I mean, you don't have to be like super strong doing these three plates right here, right? But all it takes is just building on your, your mental toughness. We as male, we need to, build on that, testosterone. We need to have that alpha mentality. But let's just take a look at this quick clip.
Oh my God. Light work, Andrew. Oh my God. Light work, light work, light work, light work, light work, light work. It is light work. Light work. It is light work. It's a warm up.
Let's take a look at some video clips I want to share with you on my journey progression with powerlifting. So on the left, I'll show you a quick video clip of me deadlifting 515 pounds. And then on the right, I'll show you a clip of me benching 325 pounds on the bench press.
Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go.
So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed another episode here at All I See Is W. Thanks, guys. Also, if you can catch me on the live stream later today, I'll be going on, sometime around 3:30 p.m. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you on the next one.